This lad's discussions meme is... If you wish to send us memes, just so you can get a shout out at the start of these videos, be sure to send them to our Twitter handles. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Lads Discuss Death Battle. Joined of us, he's returning from vacation, your only mate.
Hooray!
I wouldn't call that vacation.
Well, you didn't have to put up with me and Purple arguing, so I consider that a vacation.
You know what?
Funny. That was funny.
It was funny, I won't lie. I feel that's the first time I've ever argued with a guest on Lads Discuss Death Battle. To be clear, people, it was a fun argument. Me and Purple banter all the time. But speaking of bantering, bringing us together is Shawnee. I don't know. That whole shtick.
I know we're gonna.
That shtick was getting boring. I was like, you know what, fuck it. That joke's losing all value now.
No, we can now upgrade Bill from pulling a Tetsuo to pulling a Guts. Congratulations.
To be fair, it wasn't as one-sided as the fandom was trying to make it out to be. But yes, so we're going to talk about Guts versus Dimitri. No, not Dimitri from GTA 4. I've already done that skit.
Yeah.
Actually, do you know what? Z-Dog actually messaged me after watching that episode. And he said, I'm surprised you didn't jab at the Darkstalkers, Dimitri. How many fucking Dimitris are in video games?
A lot, apparently.
Yes.
Honestly, if I did know about that Darkstalkers one, I probably would have thrown that in there just for Z-Dog. So, sorry, Z-Dog, I'm not as cultured of the Dimitri lore. So gonna be
There's also a Dimitri in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Jesus Christ. Are we one day going to get the Society of Dimitris? When can we get that in the Spider-Verse movie?
Well, I mean, we're never going to know which one is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dimitri because he just copies everybody.
Well, the thing with that, imagine the Dimitri-verse.
Into the Dimitri-verse. Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Just DimitriCon 2024. Hi, I'm Dimitri. Oh, hello, I am also Dimitri.
We're going to also talk
everywhere.
We're going to talk about that next time. And we're finally getting onto the lads debate, which I'll put a trailer on it on screen when we get to that topic. But yeah, we're finally talking about this matchup. There's no point trying to keep it all what's it going to be like. We announced it ages ago.
Yeah, but what we can talk about is the #1 trending video currently.
Honestly, I'm not surprised. And
I am.
I feel like Bailiff fans are rubbing it in everyone's faces in the Smash community.
Well, Dimitri had help from Guts, to be fair.
I mean, that is true, actually, yeah. I feel like if it wasn't for Berserk, I don't think it would be trending. Alright then, but did this episode live up to the hype? Hell yes, this was such a good episode.
Oh boy, where do we start with how amazing this was?
From the beginning. You see, it started when there was a big bang. Alright, I'll skip to the present. So
20,000 years later.
That'll probably be the longest Lads Discuss Death Battle. Alright, so Guts is returning, or has returned, and sadly, I'm sorry, am I interrupting something?
No, mate's just pouring one out for our boy.
Yes, Guts lost his matchup, so hey, to be honest though, after learning about Dimitri, I'm actually kind of interested to play Three Houses. Just looking at the gameplay and Dimitri's character, I was just like, I said that in my reaction, Dimitri needs a hug.
Yeah, I saw that, and you're just like, no, I want to pick Dimitri's house, screw the others.
Yeah, I don't care.
This is actually the least played house, actually, in his game.
Oh, that sucks,
Really?
man.
I think so, because, like, we'll talk about that skit later for Wisdom Boomstick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just Oh my goodness, man. Like, okay, so let's talk about the analysis portion. Did they just recycle a lot of things from Guts versus Nightmare? Yes, but they also kind of expanded more on it, because I mentioned in the last episode or discussion video, though it was a good episode, Guts versus Nightmare, they did kind of... Like, if you're comparing it to today's episodes, it was not really up to their standards. It was just more so hyping up the character, which, to be fair, Guts deserves a lot of hype. But it wasn't exactly informative, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
they never went into numbers like, oh, how much force did this cannon do to vaporize this demon? Or how fast was he moving to keep up with this demon? It was like, a bit lackluster, I will admit. But obviously, you know, Season 2 and relatively early Season 2, I believe, or could be wrong on that. So...
that was... Oh, when did they really, like, start doing, like, tons of numbers for their episodes?
Honestly, I haven't watched a lot of Season 2 episodes in a long time. It's only ever since Sean started doing those rewatches, and after I rewatched certain returning episodes, that I went back to some older episodes. But I did like they expanded more on Guts' lore, and even the Berserk lore, because they didn't really go into much detail about the story. I'm glad they kind of left out some things, because... Look, people, if you're wondering what happened to Guts and his original tutor... Again, I'll put the name of the chapter on screen. You can Google it.
What's more depressing, Dark Souls or Berserk? The answer? Both.
I'd say Dark Souls is depressing on the scale of the lore of the world, but in terms of like which main character suffered worse, at least the chosen undead can come back. And you know, man, it was just so fucked. That's why I wanted to react to the analysis, just seeing some of those old panels again, and even old animations. I was like, oh god, I remember seeing this as a kid. Why did my mum let me watch this?
That explains so much.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Honestly, I think they did a good job with this, but I kind of prefer the analysis for his fight against Nightmare for the personality Boomstick had with Guts.
I do think...
I mean, they still kept a little bit of that in.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Boomstick was still a big fan. In fact, he actually has the Dragon Slayer sword, which I'm actually watching it now, and I'm just going to say, it was kind of entertaining to see Boomstick playing with Guts' sword.
While blushing.
Yeah.
In case y'all couldn't tell, that's an innuendo.
Wow, Sean, are you calling our audience dumb? Hashtag cancel Sean.
No, but they take everything we say kind of literally.
Yes.
I've had to explain jokes before.
Actually, that is true, and I do want to kind of go into something regarding the fight. Alright, so overall, though, the analysis with Guts was really well handled. I liked it wasn't trying to overhype him again, because, you know, Guts is a badass, but I like the fact they still said, oh, he has a limit, you know, like, he's still human, after all.
Yeah, and they didn't repeat, Guts fights people stronger than him all the time and still wins anyway.
According to Star Trek, then that's a 0 out of 10.
Oh, rip. What was even the point?
I mean, don't get me wrong, there is some truth to that. But that shouldn't be a deciding factor for the winner. Like, honestly, I could buy Guts...
No, because you can say that for, like, tons of characters.
Yeah, I could buy Guts could still beat Nightmare today. But the way they went about it did not make any sense, and not that it kind of just made Nightmare to be a pushover, or just a basic enemy, which Nightmare's not. Nightmare's a badass villain. Again, I've gushed over so many villains, but I'm not going to go into why Nightmare is awesome. Maybe if he returns. Or maybe a lads debate. All I'm saying is, if we come up with a Nightmare debate, I'm picking Nightmare.
Oh, I think I know a Nightmare debate.
Oh.
That could be something maybe next year or another time. But I also like the fact they went into more detail about the Berserker armor, because, again, there's a saying in the original where, sure, they said how cool it was, but they didn't go into too much detail until after the fight. But at least in this one, they explain how cool it is, but also why it's kind of a risky ability.
It's like
Yeah, because of a demon, like, constantly pushing him to, like, lose his sanity.
It's what we call a double-edged sword, essentially.
Eh. But, yeah, I actually really liked Guts' analysis. But, Dimitri, on the other hand. So, I know I've kind of picked on Purple a lot. Purple did go into a lot about Dimitri, but of course he hasn't played. Apparently, he told me in messages and in the comments he hasn't played the Three Houses in a long time, so his memory was fuzzy. But the idea I got from the Lads Discuss and Brabus cast was that he seemed like a man of honor, and that's all I kind of got from him. I was like, okay, I don't really see the guts comparison. And then I saw, and he had to watch his entire kingdom and family burnt alive in front of him. I was like, oh my god.
Not the best way to spend the Tuesday.
No.
Yeah, it's more so a Wednesday thing.
And then on Thursday, he swears vengeance on everybody and kills them.
You guys didn't get the Wednesday joke, did you?
So I'm just going to quickly throw out there, if I were going purely based off of what was said in the Lads episode, I probably would have ended up siding with Guts as well.
Yeah, that was kind of with me as well, because I was already doing a lot of research for other Lads Debate episodes. I didn't want to throw in another new character I'm not familiar with, so I was thinking, you know what? I'm going to let the guest explain them to me. I didn't really get a good insight onto the character, but this episode has made me a Dimitri fan. I don't care what the other houses have, the moment I buy this game, I'm like, look, Dimitri is best boy. I can understand now. He must be protected. In fact, why wasn't he put in Smash Bros? I would have preferred him over Byleth.
Because you gotta get the pro tags.
Oh, he should be a pro tag, man. So yeah, I think it's pretty obvious to say I have become a Dimitri fan. I have joined the Fire Emblem side.
Fire Emblem fans in the comments of like, he is one of us.
Bill has officially become a blue lion now. Congratulations.
Fuck yeah.
Fitting considering that's your favorite color anyway.
That is actually kind of true. It's like it was destiny. And man, okay, I will say, this is kind of his origin's kind of tamed, but compared to Guts. But from a Nintendo property, you know, colourful animals that fight, a little plumber that jumps through pipes. How about a war between different civilizations that are fighting over dictatorship and slavery and all that shit? Oh, and also this guy lost his entire family. It's like, Nintendo, are you alright?
And was betrayed by the one he had a crush on.
God, yeah, that tried to even kill him with his own dagger that he gave to her as a gift, which, I mean, granted, it's medieval times, so that's kind of normal, actually. But
yeah, I actually have another example that's quite heavy from Fire Emblem.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so it's Fire Emblem Awakening. Lucina finds out that Robin is tied to, like, the thing that destroyed her future and will destroy this present, and so she wrestles with the decision to kill Robin.
Jesus, man. This is the same company that made Mario and Zelda?
And
Yep.
here's the kicker. Because you can have different relationships happen, you could have Robin and Lucina dating at this point, or married.
Oh, Jesus.
Or should you pair Robin with play as the female Robin and pair her up with Chrom, then that would be Lucina talking about murdering her own mother.
Jesus, man. I really need to get into Fire Emblem. I just thought it's just basically fantasy XCOM, you know. Characters can permanently die, there's a bit of strategy. In fact, just talk about it. I'm just looking at the gameplay again. Why have I not played this game? This reminds me of, I can't remember. It was an original Xbox game, Kingdom Under Fire. It was a really good game where it was like strategy. You would go around, like, attack different groups. It would go from, like, tactical, like, moving units to third-person hack and slash. Really underrated game, people. I recommend you try and find it. But that's what this game's reminding me of. Like, it just looks so much fun. It's like Devil May Cry meets anime.
Yeah, the analysis was really solid.
Yeah.
Like,
Also,
I enjoyed it a lot.
I do also
Same.
want to call out Nintendo as well. It's like, okay, if you can have this game running on your Switch, there is no excuse for Violet and, what the fuck the other one was called.
Scarlet.
Yeah, you have no excuse, Game Freak. This game can run on there and these beautiful graphics. No excuse.
Well, I mean, it's also the Pokemon Company not understanding the term slow down.
That is also a thing.
Like, Jesus Christ. Like, those did not have to come out the same year as Legends Arceus.
That is true.
Can we just admit Nintendo did a really good job with Dimitri's story overall?
Yeah. And do you know what as well? Okay, so let's talk about Dimitri's character. He is a fucking badass. Like, holy shit.
Honestly, yeah, that shot of him just walking through that magic.
He could have easily moved out.
He don't give a fuck.
Yeah, he could have moved out of the way, but he didn't. He's like, look, let me show you how little of a fuck I give. It's like, god damn, like, again, why was he not in Smash? In fact, I'm doing a petition. I don't care if Smash Ultimate's been, like, dead for a while now. We need to get Dimitri in Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Or, like, the next Smash.
Or the next Smash. In fact, the moment I see his reveal trailer, I'm gonna use that freaking image that Yang and Sandwich uses, just fuck yeah. Hashtag
Which
Dimitri.
one? She has two.
She has a lot. But yeah, hashtag Dimitri and Smash when. Of course, we should probably talk about the humour of Dimitri's analysis. Like, yeah, again, just similar to with Skyrim versus Dark Souls. I do love the fact that Wiz and Boomstick and even Jocelyn were arguing. I said Jocelyn. Bastard. Yeah, I do love the fact they were all arguing which is the best house. Again, that's something I do am liking. They're starting to do more, like the whole debate aspect. And also, yeah, Jocelyn's cameo was actually kind of funny. Sometimes the side characters do get a chuckle out of me.
Yeah. I didn't expect them to argue about those two houses. I thought they would argue about what they like with Dimitri's house. And I forget the other two because they're irrelevant.
Oof. Some people in the comments who are like that, just like, aww.
Also, there was a lot presented for Fire Emblem.
Yeah, I'm really interested in the lore of Fire Emblem. It almost feels as big as almost Berserk's.
Probably slightly bigger.
Yeah, I mean, it has been around for a long time. Wasn't it around during the NS era? SNES? I think
so.
Yeah, like, it was around during, like, the really... I don't want to say shit graphics, you know, it's revolutionary at the time, but... Like, Fire Emblem's been around for probably about as long as Zelda has, I reckon. And do you know what? And similar to Zelda, I will say the games have improved.
That's good.
So yeah, I've gushed all about Guts and Dimitri. Yes, I'm a Dimitri fan now. Best boy. He needs to be in Smash Bros. Do you guys have any final say before we get to the fight?
One moment. I was replying to a comment that I got.
I just quickly looked up. Fire Emblem was first produced and published on the NES in 1990.
Okay, so yeah, relatively the same time as Zelda.
Yeah, I think the analysis overall were fantastic. Whether you're a Berserk or Fire Emblem fan, I think they did justice to them.
So, just throwing this out there, no games were released outside of Japan until Marth and Roy were put in Smash Brothers.
Okay, I guess it was one of those Japanese exclusives for a while. I mean,
yeah.
Fire Emblem is really popular in Japan. Despite people getting angry during Smash Bros, there's a reason for that, people. One, Smash Bros is really popular in Japan, and Fire Emblem is really popular in Japan. Like, if you were to look up reactions of people who saw the trailer, like the Japanese audience, they were hyped. Like, really hyped. Like, almost like how we were hyped when we saw, like, Banjo-Kazooie. So it's like, yeah, clearly Nintendo knows their audience.
I do think...
No, sorry, go ahead.
I think that Fire Emblem has its popularity, and the fact that it got #1 on trending for its first debut with Berserk could show that more Fire Emblem matches could be possible.
Oh, yeah. I think it's...
Yeah, I'm down for Fire Emblem getting more episodes. Marth versus Aragorn, anyone?
Oh, that would actually be kind of interesting.
I think most people want... What was her name?
Lucina.
Oh, no, not her. The person Dimitri fought. I can't pronounce her name. Starts with me.
I can't remember it either, actually. But,
Yeah, no, I remember.
I see a lot of requests for her. Oddly enough.
Really? I've not seen any. At least none that I can remember.
Her popular one for a long time was Kylo Ren.
Oh, do you not? Yeah, I can kind of see that. I'm not sure what their chances are against a Jedi.
Yeah, Momini is so hard on Kylo. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, Kylo Ren's not the most powerful Jedi, but he's still on par with Rey. And Rey, we already know how powerful she is.
So I think it could be great to see more Fire Emblem characters in there.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm all for it. But another thing I'm all for, this fight.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Bro, I rewatched this in like the 4K setting recently. Holy crap.
It is really good. I've watched it a few times today before I went out with the family. And, here's the thing with me, people. I don't react to previews or sneak peeks or the analysis previews. I want to go into it blind a lot of the time. But Mate and Sean constantly saying, "Oh my god, we don't want to tell you, but what you need to. We can't wait for you to see this episode." Almost every day in the chat, and it's just like, I get it, guys. Just give me time.
It was so good. It was so worth the preview watching. Oh.
Yeah. I was a bit torn that, the fight's just immediately starting. It's kind of like when Dragonzord went up against Mechagodzilla and it was just in the middle of the fight is when it started, but I think the dialogue and stuff like that managed to save it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was also kind of thinking I was thinking they were going to go the route like Dimitri's forces were all wiped out and that's when he sees Guts and goes to attack. But again, it could have been limitations to the animation, so they thought, no, let's just have them fighting on a ice hilltop. And it's like, it's a good setting. I will say, the environment looks really good. Kind of gives me that old classic. Kind of gives me that old classic Ruby Red trailer vibe.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I still hold that as one of the best animations from Monty. R.I.P. you magnificent bastard.
Speaking of the models too, Guts looks fantastic in Blender.
Yeah, was this a complete model made from the ground up, or was this just ripped from the game? I'm not complaining.
I'm not too sure. I mean, I haven't been able to watch the commentary yet.
I
don't know if it's out yet.
It's not out yet.
Yeah, so they'll probably explain on that.
Yeah. If Guts' model was custom made, then well done. I imagine it would be hard to make the PS2 game model work.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. I still remember when years ago they were joking around with Sephiroth versus Virgil, and they were going to get the PS1 transformation form for Sephiroth. I would have loved to have seen that. But
Dimitri also looked pretty good.
Yeah, and of course it goes without saying the voice acting is really, really good.
Yeah, playing Guts was Xander Mobus. I have the credits put up right here. Most famous role, I would say, from Death Battle is either Agumon or Wolverine.
He went from Agumon to Guts? You killed my marshmallow! You bastard! It's like, wow.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just Agumon, it was all of his forms too.
Oh yeah, that's true, yeah.
You get the point, though.
Yeah, I always love those sort of videos where it's like same actor. I remember seeing one years ago from Yang the Insane where it was like Bowl Boy from Cuphead is also voiced by the same guy that voices Reaper and Overwatch, and I was just like, really? A Death Bat was kind of the same. They'd be like, oh, this character voiced Mario. Oh, that's cool. He also done Sephiroth. Wait, what?
And speaking of Guts, fun fact for Bill, do y'all remember All Might from Death Battle?
Yeah.
His voice actor actually played Guts in the later anime.
No kidding.
Yeah, Kaji Tang was Guts at one point.
That's kind of sick. Also, I'm not sure if I might be just hearing this wrong. When Guts gets electrocuted in a fight, I kind of hear Obi-Wan screaming.
I think that's just you.
Might be.
No, from his death battle, when he got electrocuted by Kakashi, it's almost eerily similar. I'll play it on screen for people, and let's see if they can hear it as well. But... that was the thing in my reaction when I was listening to it. I was like, I was very tempted to say like, from a moment I heard Obi-Wan Kenobi. But the fight was too good that I didn't get to that joke.
Yeah. You know, if we're talking about stuff we heard from voice acting, there's something that I thought I heard from Guts, specifically when the Berserker armor came on. Is it just me, or does he sound like a zombie from the Treyarch Call of Duty games?
Do you know what? I do kind of hear it now.
like it's the screams and the fact his eye is glowing red, just like the zombies did.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Yeah, I kind of actually, I'm just listening to it now. It's just like, you know what? Yeah, I also kind of hear that. Obi-Wan and Call of Duty Zombies in the same video. But, okay, let's also talk about the brutality of this. Because, okay, yeah, Fire Emblem, despite
There's
its...
so much blood.
Yeah, now despite, you know, of course, Fire Emblem mostly being for children, which I kind of question that in Nintendo. I was worried, like, are they going to tame down the violence just for the sake of Fire Emblem? I was like, nope, they did not. Freaking nose getting broken from a headbutt, a man getting his face impaled through the chest, impaled through ice. It's like, oh my god.
Bro, the way the preview ended was that shot of Dimitri getting cut in like the back.
Oh, that's actually a good cut-off point.
Yeah.
Could you imagine just like the end?
The end. Guts wins.
I'm really sad they didn't acknowledge my pun. A good cut-off point.
So I was taking a sip.
That was
Nice.
That was bad.
Oh my god. And also, the bit when they're both like having their like insanity like taken over them, and the fact they both say their lines, which I was actually quite surprised that Dimitri almost has an identical line to Guts in his series. I was like, huh, I can actually kind of see why people wanted this now.
Yeah.
Well,
Dimitri's voice actor killed it though.
He really did.
yeah.
This was a debuting Kevin Andrew Rivera, and I've also talked to him about it on Twitter a little bit and like replies. Very nice guy from the sounds of it.
I was
He did phenomenal as Dimitri. I'm sorry.
The other thing I had to give props to, the fact they start off in their capes and stuff like that, and as the fight goes on, they're starting to get, like, I've always been a sucker for when animators for Versus stuff actually go through the effort of adding damage throughout the fight. Because old school death battles, you'll notice, like, they don't really add, like, damage throughout the fight. They usually, like, especially ones with healing factors, like Wolverine's suit just healing up after being slashed up by Raiden. So the fact
To be
they
fair, his suit healed up in his other media too.
I suppose, but, you know, the fact they went through the effort of, like, as the fight went on, they're getting more bloodier, they're getting more bruised, they're getting more, like, their suits are damaged, like, Dimitri's cape burning in the fire. It's just, like, I like little detail. Or even Guts' Berserker helmet being smashed off. I was like, that was rad.
After being stabbed in the face.
Yeah, man, like... so many callbacks as well, like, you know, the iconic when Guts first activates his armor and snaps his arm back, like, of course it was a lot more quicker in the fight than it was in the film, but I kind of get, you know, it's meant to be a fast-paced fight.
Or the callback when Guts threw a dagger in the same spot Dimitri got hit by his lover.
Yeah.
That took me a few rewatches to get.
Well, Fireball found out on like our first one. I didn't even notice.
And even just how on point they were with all of Dimitri's moves. And of course they did that whole special move animation, which they had to do that. Like, when he goes, this is
like
it.
the crit thing.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh my god. I'm really glad I watched this on First Members. My YouTube video just did an ad just as Guts got stabbed in the critical hit.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Don't you love ads?
Man, it's a good thing I got members and first membership, man. Because if I had to react to these and an advertisement came, I was like, oh, do you want to quickly see this advertisement about puppies? It's like, no, I want to see a fucker get impaled.
Screw you, puppies!
Yeah.
I'm watching my boy fight my new favorite boy.
I mean, it's accurate. But, yeah, okay, add aside though, like, just, my god, like, so much of this fight. But of course, I will say, I have a hot take with this episode. And I do say it's a hot take because I'm in the minority with this. So...
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people with the exact opposite opinion as yours.
Yeah. Including my good friend Yang Yintane, who I thought would have been on my side, but this morning she was telling me, like, honestly, Bill, I think you're overreacting. Now, okay, let me explain, people. So, the death is Guts bleeds out, and he dies. Now, here's the thing people seem to be missing the point of me. I don't hate the fact Dimitri's fighting and Guts is on it. In fact, I love that. But the image of Guts just standing there after stopping midway with his sword swing, which, by the way, that's not how physics work.
I think it might be rigor mortis.
Yeah, maybe, but don't get me wrong, the fake out, this was the best fake out Death Battle's ever done, because I legit think, oh my god, Guts is gonna win. Like, so credit to you, animators. For a while, you haven't really done a good fake out for us for a while. I think the last good one was like Madara versus Aizen.
Agreed.
Oh yeah, that was the best.
But genuinely, this was a good fake out. The death was brutal at first, impaled and even twisting the spear to pull it out. Then Guts' hand twitches and the music starts kicking in again. Dimitri's spear gets sliced in half. I was like, oh damn. But
I actually want to point out a quick detail that someone in my comment section mentioned. When Dimitri pulled the spear out, it was clean, like it had no blood on it.
oh yeah.
So had Guts already bled out at that point, and that was like the last of his will, like pushing him to get up and attack.
Maybe? I don't know.
I mean,
I think that could have just...
That's the case, man.
Nah, I think that's just an overlooked animation error.
Yeah, well, I mean, they still kept all the blood on their models and the environment.
But not on their weapons.
Yeah, I think it could have just been an
Okay, true.
It could have just been an oversight. But yeah, so again, I actually think it was a good fake out. Dimitri fighting to prevent Guts' soul from being taken was also really good and very in character Dimitri. And I will say, the shot of Guts standing by the moon shot, but
That's poster material right there.
Yeah, but I'm just going to say it. I'm just waiting for Barry Allen to do the pose that he did of that meme where he's standing over Oliver's grave. Because, I'm sorry, that just looks goofy. I'm sorry. I'm just waiting for the Looney Tunes da-da-da-da-da as it sinks in on him.
I think while filming not like the way it was ended, like injury-wise, I think storytelling-wise, it did phenomenal in that category.
Yeah, let me be clear. I think the idea of it is really good. I think I would have preferred it if Guts did get stabbed once more and that was the end of it, but he still gave Dimitri that one final look like, I'm still fighting. And then he died, and then maybe Dimitri lays him down slowly and like puts his sword on his corpse, like to give him like that sort of knight sort of, you know how like they bury knights, like they buried them with their sword and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think I would have preferred something like that, and then he goes off to fight the demon that's trying to claim his soul, rather than Guts just standing there like derp. That's all, folks. I don't know. I just don't like that. I just don't like that. The rest of it, though, I think is good. But that's my only nitpick. I still say the episode's really good.
My only gripe with it is just how abrupt it feels.
Yeah, that... Like, it's not a terrible death, but I will say it's probably the worst death this season. And I would dare say it's probably worse than Hercules versus Sun Wukong.
I mean, I think worst death-wise, it's between this one and Vader Obito, honestly.
I think Vader versus Obito, it had like the build-up, like Vader seeing Padme and Obito wishing him like peace in the next life, and Vader just accepted his death like a Jedi at that point. But that doesn't detract to how good this episode was. No, I'd definitely say this is in my top 5 episodes of the season.
Yeah, honestly,
I'm debating whether or not this is my favorite of the season so far.
Honestly, like, the only issues I've had with this was the facial animations, like, towards the start of the fight. Because, like, you hear them, like, scream and whatnot, but yet their face is just like a blank slate, especially for Guts early on.
I didn't notice that. Hold on, let me rewind that and see.
Like, when he goes to swing the sword and hits Dimitri's back, it's still resting bitch face.
I mean, to be fair, that's not too out of character with Guts. His facial expression doesn't really change all too much in most fights. Yeah, so people, despite how I feel about the ending, and despite the fact I'm a big Guts fan, did I feel as though they did my boy dirty? No, I feel like they at least made Guts fight like a badass, and despite the fact he was outmatched in terms of raw power, you know what, he still gave it his all and still showed Dimitri why he is the Black Swordsman.
Yeah, it's insane how close this actually was compared to like when everyone was talking about it initially. Like, hey, I don't think anyone said Guts was faster.
Yeah. Also, we didn't acknowledge this. The freaking bonk.
Clang.
And because I'm immature, here's the Taco Bell.
Oh.
Editing these videos is fun.
I bet.
Another surprise that, okay, yeah, they had the one thing I did not expect to give Dimitri an advantage was Guts becoming a conduit for the electricity attacks. Gesture shows that they literally looked into everything, and just that one factor kind of helped push Dimitri's power game overboard.
I will say, there is a slight error in terms of that whole electricity thing, where they said, oh, Guts needed help to deal with the electricity thing. He needed help fly into the demon. He didn't need help tanking his attacks and killing him. I just wanted to say that. So, because you can see in the panel, he is taking the electricity and it's completely fine. Well, fine for, like, you know, Gut standards.
Regardless, this was a surprisingly close debate.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think which episode...
it's just that Dimitri was much stronger and had a bigger arsenal.
Yeah. Like, obviously, I think Guts' biggest attribute was his Berserker armor and his Dragon Slayer, whereas the other weaponry was kind of... It helped, but given all the shit Dimitri's fought, it also comes to the scale of their competition as well. Because Berserk is still ongoing, so we still have yet to see Guts' full potential with his Berserker armor. But I do think even if we do see a huge power gauge with him, I think Dimitri is still going to be able to survive this side. Like, the competition of Fire Emblem seems to be pretty powerful. Obviously not on the scale of like Skyrim's dragons and stuff like that, but you know, magic nukes, I definitely would say outclasses most demons in Berserk. For now, anyway.
Yeah, and remember in that post-analysis they said if we lowball it to say like it was 100 of them and he's only comparable to one, that's still this much bigger than the best that Guts has shown.
Yeah.
Still, another thing I liked about this that we didn't touch on was God's Hand. That
was so good.
Yeah, I will say, the box art for it, not great. But luckily...
What the fuck is even going on with that?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what I'm seeing. It's like, it's meant to look like the demon from Berserk overshadowing Dimitri or something? I don't know. It's a really... I'm not sure what's going on with that design.
Is that a demon or is that people?
I really don't know.
Or is that the crest, like, mutation thing?
Yeah, honestly, it's not great, but you know what? The music slaps, I will say.
Yeah, this was Brandon and Logan came back. Brandon and Logan previously did Trunks vs. Silver soundtrack.
Yeah, it's a good song. I really like it. I think it both...
Yeah.
I'd say it's more fitting for the fight. Listen on its own, it's still good, but it's just not on par with some of the other tracks this season in terms of, like, listening to it. But obviously for the fight, it's perfect.
Can I just say another banger in terms of commission track to official?
Yeah.
3 out of 4, not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I kind of want to call out a little something in common. So, this fight ends with Dimitri going off to fight an unseen enemy that shows up after Guts died. Didn't Blake versus Mikasa end in a very similar way?
I knew you were going to bring that up. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, but if I'm being honest, Dimitri did it better. showed respect to Guts.
Sean, it was nice knowing you.
I regret not saying that.
Meanwhile, Blake was missing an arm and still went to fight.
Dimitri
And Guts
versus
was
Blake.
the complete stranger. And Dimitri still honored him despite him dying.
Listen, you guys settled this for the lads debate episode, alright? But yeah, overall, my final say, I think this episode was really good. Top 5, hands down. Not top 3 for now, but you never know. We still got a few episodes to get through this season, so I really liked it.
Oh boy.
Do you guys have any, mate, do you have any final says?
I have a couple quick things, because I just found this out.
Let's not have any more returning combatants for a while.
I think we're
Because
good
that's
for
3
now.
in a row.
Yeah, it was getting a bit repetitive.
But yeah, there was additional voice acting in this that wasn't just Xander and Kevin. We had Billy, the Ringmaster Billy, voicing both Voices of the Dead and the Beast of Darkness, and Liam was helping Billy voice Voices of the Dead.
It's so awkward that there's a Billy on this show, because every time you guys mention Billy, I'm just there like, like a puppy that gets his name called, like, huh?
No,
Yeah.
you're like a meerkat that like stands on its hind legs.
Compared to Meerkat, compared to lads.com. Simples. And Sean, you won't get that, that's a British thing.
Compare the bills.
Compare the bill. Listen, if there's anyone in our comments that gets what me and mate is referencing, then you are a British person.
Yeah, overall, Guts vs. Dimitri was a really good episode.
And we're potentially getting another good episode. Obviously, it depends on the writers and animators.
Go to hell!